Charlie Kirk. The truth is dangerous. Echo through the streets, they can't silence the proof. Tried to bury the man, but they planted the truth. They took the mic from his hand, thought the echo would fade, but his words cut deeper than a switchblade. Mouthpiece of the masses, voice sharp as attack. Spoke for the ones with targets on their back. They feared the flames he lit, so they doused the fire, but the smoke still rises higher and higher. Bullets can't kill what's etched in stone. A martyr for the message, but his spirit ain't alone. You can't stop the truth. Nah, it don't die. It spreads like wildfire, reaching the sky, trying to shut it down, but it breaks through. The truth ain't silent, it speaks to you. They silence the man, but the seed's been sown. In the cracks of the concrete, they overthrown. He spoke of freedom, the lies they sold. Truth roared in the chain on your neck, pure gold. Every word was a hammer, every line a nail, building bridges where they wanted us to fail. They took him out, but the echoes don't cease. Now his voice is a chorus, calling for peace. Charlie Kirk the messenger, but not the message. Still hear it loud, can't mute the sound. His name a battle cry in every town. You can't stop the truth. Nah, it don't die. It spreads like wildfire, reaching the sky. Tried to shut it down, but it breaks through. The truth ain't silent, it speaks to you. It speaks to you. It speaks to you.
Not like that, President, we bring it. It's so play. English way. Hey, dude.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, patriots, privacy purveyors, welcome back to the podcast. Soon if I stream deck takes it in. Thank you. So we kind of had me and Bell had our coping last night with the show that we did, but it's you know what, it kind of seems like the gloves are coming off, and it's getting more and more obvious with everything. The shocking thing to me, Bell, the shocking one, and is Matt and Trey from South Park taking down it's either them or Paramount that took down the what was effectively the Charlie Kirk episode for fear of retribution. Now, plenty of people came up to start to defend it and say, no, it wasn't retribution. It's money, guys. All right, it comes down to money. And when you continue to poke the bear and try to awaken the sleeping giant and fill him with a terrible resolve, there's going to be economic blowback to that. That's all it is. Now, I know that they came out and said it was out of respect, but Charlie Kirk himself did an interview on that, and he said he thought it was hysterical. He loved the fact that his message was permeating so deeply that South Park parodied him. And anybody in the public eye has to have a pretty thick skin and to be able to deal with something like that. So while I understand why they did it, the defenders are just dead wrong on this. They're 100% dead wrong. The show's not about this, but it is going to really start hitting free speech really, really hard. I've seen two different Republican, one senator, one congressman that are coming out and talking about trying to lean on social platforms to silent dissent, meaning silence the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Now, free speech is absolutely a double-edged sword, and you cannot simply decide what is acceptable and what is not. As a matter of fact, for any military guys out there, I know Political, I don't know if anybody else served, we did what we did to protect the speech that we hate the most. Because when you start deciding that something is acceptable to say or unacceptable to say, you've invited the government into your life in a way that you simply do not want. You do not want this, because people seem to be forgetting that the pendulum swings both ways, and it always has. Now, we're taking comments tonight. Anybody who disagrees with me goes right to the top. I mean, top of the list. I would much rather have discussion with people that I disagree with as opposed to people I agree with. That's just called an echo chamber. And I like to think that we've never been an echo chamber here. So anybody who really wants to bust my balls, top of the list, Belle. You got it?
I got it.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of kick it off. And the reason that we're doing these in these formats right now is because we do have a video guy now. We got part of the team, part of Sigia Cloud, part of the podcast. And when I do it this way, it makes it real easy for him to cut shorts out of it, so that I don't have to do this 5 or 6 times. I can just do it once. He gets the short, clips the parts that he likes, throws out the parts that he doesn't, and then we go ahead and get them posted. So that's why we're doing it this way. That's why we've kind of changed the format a little bit. But I'll tell you what, last night we weren't talking to the audience. Bella and I were talking to ourselves. But tonight we want to hear from you guys. So if you have concerns, comments, critiques, observations, definitely critiques, let me have them. So the FBI is they're chasing a ghost with a rifle. Sketches are plastered across every screen. Kirk was a lightning rod, and he knew it. He was loved by some, he was loathed by others. His culture war, the college tours, his posts on Twitter, they were slicing through progressive dogma. His unapologetic conservatism made him a hero to millions and a villain to just as many. He built a movement on free speech. He sued colleges for shutting it down. He lived by the creed that words are the battlefield of a free society. I could not agree more. And then the other side of the coin flipped. Now, as flowers piled at Turning Point's headquarters, another sound rose, a chorus of celebration. It was on X, it was in group chats, it was on TikTok, Blue Sky. Voices cheered the bullet. One less fascist. That's what they posted. Charlie got what he deserved. Emojis danced like confetti. Hashtag Charlie Who. It trended. A digital middle finger to a dead man's legacy. Now, these weren't whispers in dark alleys. These were public proclamations. Tweets, videos, memes. People with real names, real profiles, and real lives. There's a barista in Seattle, a marketing exec in Chicago, a yoga instructor in Austin, small business owner in Portland selling artisanal candles. They didn't pull the trigger, but they poured salt in the wound. They were gleeful in the glow of their screens. Free speech, baby. They had the right. No law stopped them, nor should any law stop them. The First Amendment held their hands as they hit post. But here's the twist. The edge that bites back. Words have consequences. Not legal ones, not cops knocking, not courts convicting, but social ones. And it seems like people have forgotten this. The kind that hit your paycheck, your reputation, your place in the world. That barista, fired by noon after her manager saw her tweet calling Kirk's death karmic justice. The coffee shop's Yelp page tanked 2 stars, flooded with reviews calling out her hateful post. The marketing exec, his firm dropped him after clients screenshot his good riddance rant, and they threatened to pull contracts. What about the yoga instructor? Her studio bookings dried up when students shared her Instagram story mocking Kirk's final speech. And that candle shop in Portland, canceled orders, boycotts, a Google rating of 1 after the owner's celebratory TikTok went viral for all the wrong reasons. There was not a single punch thrown, not a single law broken. Just a free market of consequences swinging its own sword. Now, This is the heart of free speech. It's not a shield from society. It's a megaphone. And what you amplify comes back to you. And sometimes it comes back to you with interest. Now, those celebrators, they had every right to speak. The Constitution doesn't care if your words are cruel, doesn't care if they're tasteless, or timed to cause maximum damage. It protects your right to say them, just as it protected Charlie Kirk when he called out campus censors, debated drag queens, or tweeted that wokeness is a mind virus. But the same freedom that let them dance on his grave lets the world respond. And they seem to have forgotten that. Employers, customers, neighbors, they're listening too. And they've got their own right. Their right to fire you, to boycott you, to shun you. Free speech doesn't mean a free pass from the court of public opinion. It means you own the fallout. Now, let me be real clear. This isn't about violence. Nobody's talking vigilantes or pitchforks. This is about choices and their ripple effects. That barista didn't just tweet into a void. She tweeted into a community of coworkers, customers, and strangers who saw her words and judged her for them. Her boss didn't fire her because the government told him to. He fired her because his business was bleeding. The marketing exec wasn't canned by a censor. He was let go because his clients didn't trust a guy who gloats over a corpse to sell their brand. The yoga instructor's students didn't need a law to stop booking her classes. They just didn't want to downward dog with someone who'd cheer a murder. What about the candle shop? Customers didn't need a judge to stop buying. They just chose to spend their dollars elsewhere. Now that's the deal. And you need to reconcile yourself with that. You speak and the world answers. This is the double-edged sword of free speech. It is sharp and it is unforgiving. One edge is power, the ability to say what you believe, no matter how raw or how reviled. Charlie Kirk wielded it like a broadsword, slashing through what he saw as lies, hypocrisy, and cultural decay. He called out professors, politicians. He called out entire universities, knowing that it had cost him friends, invites, and maybe even safety. He paid the ultimate price, but his words reshaped a generation's politics. And that single gunshot just created 1 million of them. 1 million more. Now, what's the other edge? Because we never seem to talk about that. The other edge is accountability. The moment you speak, you step into the arena. You invite the counterpunch, not from the state, but from the people. Those celebrating Kirk's death, they swung their blade, and now they're feeling the return cut. Jobs lost, businesses gutted, reputations in ashes. Not because they broke a law, but because their words carried weight and the world weighed them. Don't mistake this for a defense of cancel culture. That phrase is a trap, a buzzword that flattens the truth. This isn't about a mob silencing dissent. It's about consequences being as free as speech itself. Now, Charlie Kirk knew it. He got death threats for years. He lost sponsors. He faced boycotts. Consequences for his own words. He didn't whine. He doubled down. He built a bigger platform. He turned the heat into fuel. The celebrators could learn from that. They're not victims of censorship. They're players in the same game. They spoke freely, and the market of ideas, it responded. You don't get to cheer a man's death in public and expect your boss, your customers, your community to nod along. Free speech isn't a bubble, guys. It's a battlefield. And here's the deeper cut. This is exactly why free speech matters. It's not just about saying what you want. It's about living with what you say. It's the mechanism that keeps us honest, keeps us sharp. Without it, we're drones. We're reciting scripts from the powers above. With it, we're forced to stand by our words, to face the mirror of society's judgment. These celebrators, they're not being jailed for their posts. They're not being dragged to court. They're facing the social cost of their choices, just as Charlie faced his for calling out the left, for defending the unborn, for praising Trump. The sword swings both ways, and it's supposed to. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. That's how we keep the conversation alive. So, to the celebrators now licking their wounds, fired, boycotted, shunned, hear this. You had the right to speak. You still do. The government didn't touch you. The Constitution still holds you close. But your words weren't free in the other sense. They did cost you. They cost you jobs, businesses, probably friends. That's not injustice. That's the deal. You stepped into the arena and the crowd threw tomatoes. Now, you can cry about it, and I know you're going to cry about it. Or you can simply do what Charlie Kirk did. Keep talking. Build something new. Prove your worth with better words, better ideas. The sword is still yours to swing again, but it will always cut both ways. And to the rest of us, watching this unfold on X, in headlines, in our group chats, let's not forget the lesson. Free speech is our birthright as Americans, but it's not a blank check. It's a responsibility. It's the freedom to speak your truth and the burden to carry its weight. Charlie Kirk carried his until a bullet stopped him. The celebrators are carrying theirs now in pink slips and empty storefronts. This is the dance, guys, of a free society. This is the dance of a free society. We speak, we clash, and we pay, and we keep going because the alternative, silence, censorship, a world where only the right words survive. That is a graveyard for truth. So let's keep the blade sharp. Let's speak, knowing the cost, and let's listen, knowing the stakes, because free speech isn't just a right, it's a reckoning. And in America, we settle our scores with words, not bullets. That's the sword that we wield, and that's the price that we pay for it. Anything to add there, Belle?
I mean, sorry, guys. That was definitely powerful. I'm definitely gonna have a little more to add later on. Jack Sparrow chiming in with a comment saying, to be clear, he was also known for racist comments and ideology.
Okay. Jack, do we really want to do this other? Because I'm more than happy to, man. What would you define as racist? Let's start there. All right. So that we're at least arguing something on an even keel. What would you define as racist? Pull it out. I mean, if you're citing the man right now for all of his racist comments, then please pull them up, quote them, cite them. I can't debate myth. Show me what he said specifically so that we're both starting from an even keel. Look, bro, I don't want to lose you as a viewer. You've been with us for a very, very long time, and I like to debate. You understand this. But I'm also not going to sit here and kowtow to the word racism because you have to define it. You're the one who brought it up. It wasn't me. You started this, so let's define the word racism and show me specifically where Charlie Kirk mentioned it.
So he dropped a quote stating, "I'm not sure I would trust a black pilot because I will wonder if he is qualified."
Okay, is that racism or is that just simply his opinion? That, and it's a fair question, bro. Is that racism or is that merely Charlie's opinion? Because I'm indifferent to who's flying the plane. The only person I want flying the plane is the guy who's going to get it up and get it back down. If that is his words, is that how we define racism? I mean, is that it? Is that it?
And he's also chiming in saying, "I have issues with the Civil Rights Act of 1965.
Okay. Why? Why did he have issues with the Civil Rights Act? You can't just throw out a simple blanket statement, man. You got to add context. Why did he specifically have problems with it? Now, I know what you're going to do. You're going to go to X, you're going to go to Grok, you're going to go to something like that and say, please expand on this, and then you're going to read it back to me. I've been doing this a long time. So I have problems with the Civil War, Jack. I have big problems with it. All right, there you go. So what does that mean, dude? What does it mean? You need to expand on your idea so that I can counter. But throwing out a simple catchphrase, and I've seen the videos too, but what does he say after that? Because context matters. It really, really does. Belle, please carry on while Jack gets his shit together.
And he does actually go on to say, "Can't add context in a chat."
No, you can't type. That's fine, bro. I'll tell you what, Jack, you're invited on the show, man. You'll be right there where Belle is, and we can have it out live. That's where it is, man. Look, if you're gonna debate, let's debate. But throwing out a simple sentence with no context to it whatsoever, what am I supposed to say to that? How am I supposed to respond? Well, you're right. He's a goddamn racist. Based on a single sentence. Based on no additional context to it. You got to give me something here, bro. If you want to debate, we'll debate. But I'm going to need a little bit more. Go ahead, Belle.
All right, so Golden State Native, saw your video yesterday. One of the best from anyone out there.
You know, and I do appreciate that, sir. Look, man, we're not trying to politicize this. We're not doing it. Look, this is a dead channel, all right? We have family. It's a family channel. We're not expanding. We're not growing. But we're also not going to lean in and try to capitalize on the death of somebody that I considered just an excellent human being all the way around. That's Charlie Kirk. We dimmed our lights because his got dimmed, all right? We're not there to put up your dukes. Now come listen to me. We're not doing any of that. I'm certainly not going to try to profit on the man's death. But I am going to have my say on it, and I appreciate that, man. Go ahead, Bill.
Okay, that was the last comment for the event, but I am gonna add in. Okay, freedom of speech does not equal freedom from consequences. I did put that up in chat earlier. You know, people, maybe this is gonna drive that point home.
Yeah, and you know, will it though? You know what it's going to do? It's going to create another victim class. This is it. I'm going to go right here online right now. South Park, of all people, actually did a very, very funny episode, and it was on the 23andMe, and all it was getting your DNA back so you could see what percentage of victim you actually are based on your race, based on what your DNA was telling you. I thought it was hilarious. I mean, for what it's worth, if they did pull that Charlie Kirk episode, which seems to be the thing. I'm more or less done with South Park, man. Look, comedians should never have to pull down what they said. All right? That's called a free society. They did it. They posted it. They capitalized. They had a wonderful time making it, whatever. But when things go wrong, all of a sudden you start walking it back. That's what the entire left is doing right now. They're walking everything back. Let's put Trump in a bullseye. All the shit that Tim Waltz said, and I will get you quotes, Jack, because I'm sure you know we like to throw them out as single lines there. I'll get it, babe. They're all walking it back. They're that Simpsons meme that is so funny with Homer coming out and just antagonize, and then they start drifting back through the bushes, and then something happens, and then he comes back out and says, we need calm discourse. That's what Charlie Kirk was doing, and you killed him for it. So you can't walk back all of the things that you said. You can't walk it back, and that kind of feels like what they're doing there. And if that is the case, I'm done with it. All right, look, they had their run. It was great. I like Matt and Trey. I think they're funny. I like South Park. I thought it was hysterical. They really never, ever pulled any punches on anybody. But you literally can't do what you're doing. You're trying to walk it back because you're afraid of the retribution that is coming to baristas, and that's coming to ad executives, and that's coming to yoga instructors, and that's coming to everybody else. You did waken the sleeping giant. You absolutely did. You poked him and poked him and poked him, and now that giant is answering in the way that they know how. I don't like the word cancel culture. I think it's horseshit. I think it is absolute horseshit. Just the word is horseshit. What it is called accountability. You said it. Now live with it. I've never taken a video down. I've never backed off from anything I said, with the exception of crypto, because I also am a pragmatist, and what I say right now might not apply in 6 months. But anything that's from philosophical for me, I've never taken it down. I believe it all the way down. And I'm not trying to change your mind. All I'm trying to do is speak my own truth, whether it's real or not. That's all I'm trying to do. We got nothing else, Belle?
Well, okay, so now the question is, which entity pulled down the South Park episode? Was it Matt and Dre, or was it Paramount directly? Because I could see Paramount doing it since they wrote the big, huge check to give to Matt and Dre.
That was a lot of money, too. If I had to make a guess, Paramount. All right, look, they're in the streaming entertainment industry, and I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but it's a very, very competitive industry. And if you want to alienate half the country, meaning that you want to drop half of your consumers at this minute, you are so grossly profitable that you don't need half of your customers, then just keep doing what you're doing. That's it. That's where it comes down to, and the mood is turning. The problem going to be for the left going forward is that they just found out real quick that this is incredibly effective. I'm going to go way, way back. The only reason what is happening now is happening at all is because Elon Musk bought Twitter. That's it. Because if you want to hold a mirror up to society and you want to see what people are saying, go over to Blue Sky or that liberal jerk off one. Is that what it's called, Bell? Somebody help me out here. Is it Blue Sky? It's nothing but dancing on graves over there. It is nothing but an echo chamber. So had Elon Musk not bought Twitter to enable free speech with consequences, but free speech nonetheless, had he not done it, none of this would be occurring right now. None of it would be occurring because people of my ilk would literally have no platform. That's it. And in a world that exists on platform and social media and social currency and social everything, anybody like me would just have no platform whatsoever. That's the only reason that this is happening. But for the first time, because that happened, that there are now consequences to the stupid ass social things that you say. All you had to do was be cool. That's all you had to do. But you didn't want that. You wanted to exercise your First Amendment. I'm a big fan. I admire you for doing it. But don't spin up a new victim culture that I said what was on my mind. These people didn't like it and they got me fired. You cannot spin that up because you made the choice to do it. This isn't racial. This has nothing to do with anything. It has everything to do with your personal choices. So with that, Belle's going to talk us up. I got another song. I want to take a break because I do got another piece I got to get out there for Jason. And this is, it's a little more philosophical. It hits me personally. This is kind of how I live. So if you want to skip this one, you're done with the show. I appreciate it. But Bella, talk for a second while I spin up another song.
All right, so Political, Charlie's quote was DEI related. It was that he does not want a black pilot hired for his skin color. He wants them hired on based on their qualifications.
Yeah, but we can't have that. The better quote, Bell, is the much better quote is he's a racist. This is easy, bro. This all of this is very, very simple. I know their game. I know what they do. I've been doing this for a long goddamn time, and I definitely understand how the game is played. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to get back into politics. We were, entertaining it just a little bit. But I didn't want to do this anymore. I was happy doing crypto streams. I was happy doing philosophical streams. I was happy doing all of this stuff. I didn't want to get back into this. But it seems like this is the way that the world is going now. So welcome back. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, man, if you want to unfriend me, you want to leave the channel, you don't want nothing to do with me, babe, I completely get it.
Well, again, that was political. So
No. And I know Jeff's, and Jeff's a good guy. I'm just pointing this out. I am well aware of the consequences of the words that I say. I am well aware of them. And I choose to say them anyway, knowing that there will be consequences to me saying it. Does this make sense? Do you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and the reason that I'm doing it and the time that I'm doing it? Because I'm well aware of that. And if we are, if this is the way it's going to go, that's the way I want to go. What are you going to take from me? What are you going to take from me? Nothing. So I choose to say it. Anyway, with that, guys, we're going to take, I got, wrong button. I'm sorry. We got another song. And yeah, Suno AI. If anybody would like the songs, just let me know. If you're a Sigia user, I will happy to, they're uploaded to Sigia. I'll send them over to you right this very second. Yes, they're political songs. I don't care. I have access to AI the same as everybody else has access to AI. I created the songs, I wrote the scripts, and I chose to go ahead and play them. So with that, guys, here's another one. Hope you enjoy. We will be right back here on the podcasts in about 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Hope you enjoy. We'll see you soon.
Charlie with the megaphone, voice that could crack stones. Spoke the kind of truth that chills, marrow cuts to the bone. Took aim at the system, saw the puppets and strings. A master masquerade, shattered their king's wings. His words were Molotov, sparking fires in the night. Every syllable a bullet, his aim sharp, his grip tight. They were spitting shadows, he's a problem to fix. But Charlie ain't the type to fold the fall for their tricks. He spoke the truth, they couldn't let him breathe. Charlie's words were roots, breaking through concrete. They silenced his voice, thought they killed the fight. But his truth's a ghost, it haunts the night. City streets cold, but his words burn hot. Told the people the price of the freedom they forgot. Politicians in the pockets, snakes in the den. Charlie peeled the mask, called them out like amen. They try to shut him down, blacklists and bribes. But truth's a wildfire, can't kill it with lies. The day they took his life, the world felt the quake. A martyr for the movement, a soul they couldn't break. He spoke the truth, they couldn't let him breathe. Charlie's words were roots, breaking through concrete. They silenced his voice, thought they killed the fight. But his truth's a ghost, it haunts the night. Candlelight vigils, his name in the wind. Charlie Kirk's a legend where the fight begins. Bulletproof spirit, though his body's gone. His words march forward, a rebel song. They can bury the man, but not the revolution. Ideas spread viral, the people's solution. From the alley to the pulpit, his truth's still alive. Charlie Kirk ain't dead, he's in the hive. He spoke the truth, they couldn't let him breathe. Charlie's words were roots, breaking through concrete. They silenced his voice, thought they killed the fight. But his truth's a ghost, it haunts the
Not like that. Precedent, break. So, play. Higgins, wait. Hey,
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the real, the true, the honest dark side of the podcast. I didn't want to do this. But yeah, it seems like society is calling me to do it again. So fuck it. Let's go ahead and hit it. Belle, do we got anything going in there? Or can I get straight into my second little piece? This one is actually a little bit more meaningful for me, and I know that Jason will like it. But do we got anything else we need to talk about right this second?
Rosa, I blame the media for rage baiting. Their main goal is to have us divided before they conquer.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's stupidly obvious because the media does not have to deal with the consequences of their words. They simply don't. I want you to think about this. You have left-leaning media, you have right-leaning media, and you have independent media because, believe it or not, during this show, we are actually media. We are opinion editorial. We are given our opinion. But the same left-wing media that has absolutely no problem vilifying anybody, they're a protected class. You understand this, right? They are the ministry of truth. Now, who's read Orwell? Who remembers or at least roughly familiar with Orwell and what the ministry of truth is? It's whitewashing or erasing or memory holding history. And the only thing that matters is what matters right now. These people are absolutely protected. MSNBC, they're not going away. NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, the Clinton News Network, they're not going away. They are absolutely protected from on high. For fuck's sake, you saw it with your own eyes. They get their marching orders. Every time that there's any kind of issue, you will have 50 different talking heads saying the exact same thing. Guys, that's not media. That's propaganda. That's not journalism. It's propaganda. And when you have a propaganda wing that is that powerful and protected, they're going to have free reign to say whatever the fuck they want. And people are going to buy it. They've always been buying it. They'll continue to. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that. I feel the same way about right-wing media. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just a different talking point from a different angle. But that's all they are. They don't care if you live. They don't care if you die. They don't care if you're successful. They don't care if you fail. They care that you watch. You get this, right? They care that you watch. Most of these red grifters, and that's what I call them, red grifters, blue grifters, all they do is hook onto a narrative that's popular at the moment. They put their own little spin on it. They get clicks, they get views, they get sponsors, they get all these things. And I don't believe that they believe a word of it. They are simply leaning into populism. Now, clearly, we're not, because, fuck, we're not popular. We will never be popular. Not saying what I say. That'll never happen. But, Rosa, yes, you are absolutely correct. But they have the freedom because they have protection. And if the media at any time needs protection, not from what they say, but from the results and consequences of what they say, and they do, then you don't have free press, freedom of the press. You don't have freedom of speech. What you have is dogma. What you have is propaganda. Hope that answered the question. Belle, please carry on.
All right, so Sofa Ninja chiming in saying the internet says that Comedy Central, and I did double check this, Comedy Central pulled the episode from reruns, but Paramount Plus still streaming it.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. Like I said, a simple kind of knee-jerk thing. Comedy Central needs to appeal to a broad base. And all of these streaming companies right now need to appeal to a broad base. That means we're not just making leftist media because it fails. It doesn't just fail. It fails every single time. Show of hands, who remembers Air America? Sofa Ninja, I know you do. And Jeff, you probably do as well. I'm not sure if anybody else on here is actually old enough to remember Air America, but that was the big bastion of left-wing think, of left-wing radio, trying to counter Rush Limbaugh and the right-wing radio that was spinning up everywhere. It not only failed, it failed spectacularly because it is an echo chamber, and people are only going to tune in so long to hear what to listen to what they already think. All right, they're done with that. It failed every single time. So these streaming platforms are starting to realize that we need to appeal to everybody. I cannot tell you the last time I tuned into Comedy Central because it's just not funny. That's it. I can't even tell you the last. I don't even know where it is on my channel, Bell. I have no fucking idea. But with the rise of all these competing streaming platforms, Paramount, Peacock, Netflix, I guess you could throw Netflix in the mix. Then yeah, they're going to have to be careful and realize that we're going to have to appeal to a broad base, period. You need to appeal to everybody, not just one half of the world. And if your entire market and platform is based on appealing to left-leaning, you're going to fail, and you're going to fail utterly. Watch this. I'll do a Charlie Kirk thing here. You ready? Jack, you listen? These fuckers don't work anyway. There you go. Quote me on that. Because every time I see him, I say, what do you do? I'm a TikTok influencer. That's what you do. Where do you live? Well, I live with my mom. That sounds about right. That sounds perfect. Anyway, carry on, Bell.
All right, so Rosa, it's bad on both sides. The politicians left and right go out to eat by day. We're the ones that stay hating each other, go out to eat after their work day, but it's us that remain hating each other.
It's always been about that. It's always been about it's been about that since Karl Marx. I mean, it's been about this as long as socialism has existed. Here's the thing that you don't, and I'm not excusing the right. Absolutely not. All right, they're both wrong. Both sides are wildly wrong. But the thing that you got to keep in mind is simply ask the question, why? How does this give them advantage over us? Now, the moment that a government stops fearing its people, you do have tyranny. It can be in many different forms, but the second that the government stops fearing the people, you are going to get tyranny in some form or another. And that's what we have right now. We're living under it. If you don't think so, try to start a business. For fuck's sake, me and Bella have been sitting here battling this for 2 months just to get licensed so that we can operate in the state of Iowa. Is that government helping us out, helping us get to where we need to be? No, they're a roadblock to it. So you really got to ask yourselves, because as long as we're fighting with each other, we don't look up there. We don't look into Mordor on the Potomac. We don't look their direction, and that's what they want. That is advantageous to them, to make sure that we fight with each other so that we don't fight with them. Because the second that we all as a country wake up and actually look at what's happening up there, everything stops. And I mean everything stops, and it stops immediately. So yes, Rosa, I do. I completely agree with that, man. That you're right. It's something we've been saying for years and years, but you said it a little bit more eloquently. Thank you. I'm going to take credit for it. Go ahead, Belle.
You know, along those lines, we're talking about propaganda. There's been a study that was well written and well produced talking about the 5 rules of propaganda, but there are typically 3 groups of people that are going to participate in propaganda depending on the nature of their engagement.
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got instigators and strategists. Those are the people that are going to have a powerful motive, who engage in the high level. They're engaging in the messaging. Okay. They're helping to trigger all this and orchestrate it.
Yep.
Then you've got the agitators, who are literally ground support. They're the ones who are going out and beating the drums, spreading all this.
Yeah, we call them community organizers, but yes, they are absolutely agitators. Go ahead, Belle.
And then the last group are agents of influence. Those are usually well-meaning groups and individuals who are engaging in the propaganda spread, but they're ignoring the real motives and the identities of instigators and agitators.
Yeah, and it's been very, very successful up till now, because nobody ever simply asked the question. Let me sum this up for you guys real quick. I'm going to get to my other piece here, all right? I spent hours writing this, and I'm going to get it out. And yes, I'm reading it off a teleprompter, but it's my teleprompter. It's my words. I don't feel guilty about it. Write this down, all right, everyone? Jack, get out your pen. Any ism, whether it be socialism, whether it be Marxism, it doesn't matter. Isms are isms. Isms are for the people, but they're never for the socialists. They're never for the Marxists. They're never for the Leninists. They're always for the people. They're never for themselves. They don't want to live under the society that they have advocated for. They want to run it. American politics is no goddamn different. Nobody goes into politics to affect change. They don't want to change. They just want to get in on the grift. That's all it is. And if you look up and down, and speaking of that, you know who one of the biggest counters to the American Civil Rights Act was? Do you know who the person who was speaking most vehemently against the Civil Rights Act? Do you know who it is? Show of hands. I'm going to leave it out there, and we're going to see if anybody will actually comment. Who was the senator who was most vocal against the Civil Rights Act? It's going to be a little bit shocking. We all know the truth, but people feel very, very bad about saying it. All right, Belle, one more, and I'm going to get to my piece. I wrote it. I want to read it.
That was actually the last one for the moment. Yeah, Jack Sparrow chiming in last second saying communist leaders did not live like their countrymen.
Okay, so Jack, you know, this is actually kind of working. I'm getting a better picture of you, bro. And yes, communist leaders do not live like theirs. Bernie Sanders, I'm sure I don't have to say it, really elaborate on him. You know what he is. The self-proclaimed socialist from Vermont. Isn't he from Vermont, Bell? I think he's from Vermont. Does he live like a socialist would live? Does he? This is a real easy question. Does he own 3 houses? You bet. Does he sublet them to all of the huddled masses that he claims to represent? Does he let them live there freely because they have nowhere else to live? No, he doesn't. Anyway, guys, look, man, I'm going to get my bit in here because I wrote it. Jason, start recording. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and foes, Americans all, gather close. Because tonight, in the shadow of tragedy, we must speak truths that burn like the desert sun over Utah, where just yesterday, a bullet silenced a voice that never stopped shouting for the right to shout. Charlie Kirk's dead. He's shot in the neck while speaking at Utah Valley University mid-sentence in a tour meant to rally the young, rally the restless, the unapologetically free. 31. He's 31 years old. Wife, 2 kids. The founder of Turning Point USA, the podcaster who turned college quads into battlegrounds of ideas. The ally to presidents and provocateur to powers. That Charlie Kirk. He's gone. He ain't coming back. Now a manhunt rages on. The FBI's sketches haunting our feeds, but his absence echoes louder than any rifle crack. And yet, here I stand, not to mourn in whispers, but to roar. Because if there's one flame Charlie fit that no assassin can extinguish, it's this, the sacred, savage importance of free speech. Now, even now, after his death, especially now, Charlie didn't just preach free speech, he embodied it. He was the kid from Illinois who, at 18 years old, think about where you were at 18. He built an empire on campuses where conservative ideas were as welcome as a vegan at a barbecue. Turning Point USA, it wasn't a club. It was a counter-revolution, arming young minds with arguments against the tide of progressive orthodoxy. He debated drag queens on the quad. He called out campus censors, and he turned Twitter, X, into a coliseum where ideas dueled to the death. He didn't do it with bullets. He did it with words. Facts don't care about your feelings. That's what he said. A mantra that became a movement. He sued schools for silent speakers. He rallied against big tech's shadow bans and reminded us that the First Amendment, it isn't a suggestion, guys. It's the spine of this republic. And we are a republic. Charlie wanted free speech more than oxygen. He lived it. Do you remember the 2024 election? It wasn't that long ago. He bussed kids to polls. He flooded TikTok with memes that made snowflakes melt. And he helped deliver Trump back to the White House by waking the sleeping giant of Generation Z conservatism. It does exist. He golfed with the president days before the inauguration. He whispered strategies in the Mar-a-Lago halls and built a network that turned apathy into activism. But it wasn't power that he craved. It was the platform, the unfiltered, uncensored right to say what others wouldn't, to call out hypocrisy, to defend the unborn, to mock the elite, to love America without apology. Free speech was the great equalizer, the tool of the underdog against the overlords. Without it, we'd all be serfs in a digital gulag, nodding along to approved narratives while truth withered in the dark. But now, in the raw wound of his passing, the world fractures along very, very predictable lines. Vigils bloom outside regional hospital. Flowers pile at Turning Point's Phoenix headquarters. Trump lovers, they lower their flags to half-staff. Calls it a dark moment. Trump blames the radical left's venomous rhetoric. Republicans cry assassination. I cry assassination. It's a martyr for truth. Now, House Speaker Mike Johnson decries our toxic politics. And yes, the left, some corners, anyway, not saying everybody, they mourn too. Or at least they issue the obligatory condemnations of violence very predictably because they do it every time. Bipartisan hand-wringing. But let's not sugarcoat. There are those celebrating. They are scrolling through X. You see it. I see it. Bell sees it. The gleeful posts. The dancing on graves. Digital edition. One less fascist. That's what they type from their safe spaces. Good riddance to the bigot-in-chief of youth indoctrination. That's what I read. Hashtags trend. Hashtag Charlie Huth. They're laced with venom. And that's fine from the safe side of the screen. Cheers for the bullet that ended the bully. That's how they saw him. And here's the gut punch. The part that would make Charlie grin through the pain. Those people, those very voices that were baying for joy at his death, have every right to say it. And I mean every goddamn right. That's the beauty, guys. The brutality. The unbreakable core of free speech. It doesn't protect only the agreeable, the palatable, the polite. It shields the heretics, the haters, the howlers in the night. Even if their words twist like knives in the hearts of his wife Erica, his family shattered in Arlington Heights. His Turning Point comrades left leaderless. Even if their celebrations mock the vigils, spit on the memorials, turn a tragedy into a tweet storm of triumph. Free speech means they get to gloat. They get to grieve his ideas while toasting his end. Because if we silence them, if we cry hate speech, and we call for bans, if we call for deplatformings, or worse, we become the censors that Charlie fought his whole life. Think about it. Just for a minute, guys. Think about it. He built his brand on discomfort. He thrived in the arena where ideas clashed like gladiators, where the losing argument didn't get canceled, but did get critiqued. He defended the right of professors to teach critical race theory, even as he tore it apart on his show. He argued for open debate on campuses, inviting the ACLU. He invited the ACLU to his events just to sharpen his own blade. This is a quote. The cure for bad speech is more speech, not less. Never less. So post mortem. That principle tests us the hardest. The shooter's still at large. That ghost with the high-powered rifle. He didn't just kill a man. They assaulted the marketplace of ideas. But if we respond by muzzling the mourners who aren't mourning, we hand them the victory. We let fear forge chains. We prove the assassins right, that words are weapons, too dangerous to wield freely. Free speech isn't a luxury, guys. It's the oxygen of democracy. And without it, we suffocate in echo chambers where truths go to die and power goes unchecked. Look at history. I'm a big fan. It is littered with the bones of silenced societies. The Roman forums, let's go all the way back, once alive with orders, fell to emperors who preferred thumbs down over debate. The printing press sparked revolutions, but kings burned books to keep the fire low. Now in America, we wrote it first. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. It wasn't some laws. It wasn't reasonable restrictions. It says no law. You can look that up, Jack. It's right there. Because the founders knew that ideas are messy. They are dangerous. But they're also divine. They knew that a nation of free speakers could weather storms that topple thrones. And you know what? Charlie knew it too. He was the embodiment of that wild, woolly First Amendment. A kid who dropped out of community college to chase a vision, who turned a podcast into a powerhouse, who faced death threats long before that fatal shot. Do you remember the smears? Bell, do you remember? Because I sure do. Anti-Semite. That's what they called him after old clips resurfaced. He didn't sue for defamation. He debated it out. He invited critics on. Let the audience judge. That's free speech in action. It's raw, it's risky, and it's real. He championed it for drag story hours that he despised, for BLM rallies that he critiqued, for every voice that grated on his gears, because he understood if you carve out exceptions for the bad ones, soon there are no exceptions left. The line creeps left, and then it vanishes. Now today, it's celebrating a death. Tomorrow it's questioning an election, or praying in public, or owning a gun. Is it a slippery slope? Fuck. It is a cliff. And that man was the voice yelling, "Watch out," from the edge of it. So what now, right? What now? In this hour of half-staff flags and FBI tip lines, we honor him not with vengeance, but with volume. We flood the feeds with more speech, debates on campuses, unfiltered forums, town halls where left and right collide without cops and without censors. We build on his legacy. We expand Turning Point, not as a fortress, but as a forum. Invite the celebrants to the table. Any of you. You're welcome on this show at any time. Bella at thepodcast.com. I'm telling you right now, Bell, you put them on. You schedule them. We will go live anytime. I'm not trying to convert them, but I do want to confront them. Let their greed ring out, ugly as it is, because sunlight, guess what it does? Disinfects. Let facts pierce the fiction. Let arguments dismantle the ad hominem. I think he'd want that. I think Charlie would want that. Not a safe space. I don't do safe spaces, but a stage. Coliseum. Not a cocoon. And to those celebrating, speak your piece. Type it. Tweet it. Chant it at rallies. But know this. His ghost is listening. And the First Amendment is his shield, and it's also his sword. Your right to revile him is the same right that let him revile you back. Do you not get that? It's the thread that binds us, frayed as it is, in this tapestry of tension that we call America. Because without it, we're not a nation of neighbors debating over fences. We're subjects nodding in unison to the state symphony. Is that what you want? Free speech. It saved us before. It sparked the abolitionist fire. It fueled the suffragette marches. It birthed the civil rights thunder. It let MLK dream out loud. It let Vietnam protesters howl. It let Rush Limbaugh roar from the right, and boy did he roar. It let Charlie Kirk, that brash young boy from the suburbs, let him become a giant. It let him become so big that they had to kill him. And it'll save us again if we guard it fiercely, even in grief, even when it hurts, even when it honors the haters. So tonight, as the manhunt drags on and the vigils flicker, I ask all of you, I ask you, Bell, will you be the voice? Will you speak even when silenced? Will you defend the right even for the rights of the wrong? Because Charlie Kirk did. He lived it. He breathed it. He died for it. Mid-sentence and mid-fight. Let me finish his words. Let's make the air electric with ideas unchained. Because in a world of bullets and a world of bans, free speech isn't just important. It's everything. It's America. It's all of us. Bell, what you got?
Oh, so, okay, Sofa Ninja chiming in. The further a society drifts from the truth, the more it will hate those who speak it, George Orwell.
Yeah, and it's been that way forever and ever. Why do you think the right is so reviled? Why do you think that is? Look, man, the left is just an idea. Take everything, distribute it. Everything will be cool as long as we're the ones in charge, man. It's nice and easy, man. It tends to be the right that is saying, look, you're on your own, babe. Nobody guaranteed you shit. You don't even have a guarantee to right to food. That's literally kind of the tipping point, man. But one side advocates for more government control, and one side advocates to go fuck yourself. Now I'm on the go fuck yourself side. I'm sorry if that's harsh. I'm sorry if you don't like the language. I don't care, man. This is what was asked of us. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Go ahead and carry on, Bill.
All right, so MJ, this shit's crazy, man. Charlie didn't deserve that.
Nobody deserves that, dude. Nobody for having an idea. I'd love to say, what if it was me? Would you be saying the same thing? Not that I would ever have that kind of influence, and Charlie had massive influence, massive influence. The problem is that he was starting to affect the youth. College campuses have always been indoctrination centers for little socialists, little Marxists, and why wouldn't they be? These people don't own shit. It's very, very easy to be a socialist, be a Marxist, be any kind of ism when you don't own anything. It's very easy to demand your fair share. So they are the perfect incubator for these bullshit ideas. All he did was keep going in there and saying, you know what? You deserve better. That's all he was saying the entire time. You deserve better. Now, they're going to cherry pick him. They're going to cherry pick him to death. And it's a perfect time, right? Because he can no longer defend himself because you killed him. And I kind of wonder if people are going to mention that. What would Charlie say? I don't know. We need a fucking Ouija board now because he pissed us off so bad that we had to kill him. Belle, carry on.
All right, so we haven't gotten any other comments, but I am going to point out that, okay, the human brain does not fully develop. It doesn't reach full maturity until the age of 25. So even though we're legally considered adults at 18, there's still brain formation happening. That's why it's such a perfect time to reach out to these young people.
Yeah, because again, they're staring at a society that they simply don't understand. They don't understand that they're going to have to work, that they're going to have to deal with the consequences of their decisions. And I'm convinced that this is leftism in a nutshell. They don't want to deal with the consequences of their decisions. They want to be free spirits. They want to be artists, whether people like their art or not, or will pay for it or not. They want to be able to live their lives any way they want without any consequences of their decisions. That's it. And I'm 1,000,000,000% right about this. Why is it so easy to shoot fish in a barrel, metaphorically, mentally, when they're in college? Because they don't own fuck all. Because there are no consequences for their decisions at that point. What are you going to take from them? They got nothing. So it's very, very easy to gin them up and say, you got to go after the man. You got to go after these rich guys who worked and bled and sweat and teared and did everything to build up their wealth, and you deserve a portion of it because you simply exist. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. I'm 1,000,000,000% right. I will debate anybody about this right this second because I'm that confident in it. So anyway, guys, I see that we're pretty well at time. I could go on hours and hours on this. I didn't want to do this. Just so you guys know, I've been very, very moderate. I've been staying in the middle, and I've been trying to stay out of it. But apparently, if we're not going to be allowed to stay out of it, I should be able to say whatever the fuck I want and deal with the consequences of it. And I'm happy to do that because I am aware that there are consequences for every single word that I say. I'm cool with it. If you'd like to hear more, we'll be back on what, Belle? It doesn't matter. Anyway, Belle, go ahead, talk us up, take us out. Had a wonderful time. See you guys.
All right, again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who joined us this evening, we cannot say thank you guys enough. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys and the comments and questions you send our way. Now, excuse me. Scott and I have to go on a business trip next week, so we are not planning on going live with anything other than shorts. In between tonight and our return on September 22nd, if you have any other comments, questions, or concerns, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either Scott or myself. Scott@thepodcast.com or Bella@thepodcast.com, and we'll get those answered for you. Again, we can't thank you enough, guys, and we'll see you next time.